You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma podcast. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car, Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Citizens Banks, where I bank. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. It is a little loud in here. We are at the BOK Center as if you're watching the video, they're turning the lights on and off. There's an excavator behind us moving dirt around. Outrageous amount of dirt in this arena, but gives me great pleasure to introduce to the podcast Mr. Wyatt Rogers, Oklahoma's own, in the PBR from Hulbert, Oklahoma. Wyatt, we're going to get through this. It's going to be a little loud, but it's fine. Mate, appreciate your time. Thanks for being on the podcast. I can't wait to dive into your story. Tell me about growing up in Hulbert, Oklahoma. Is that where you were born and raised?
No, so I was actually, I was born here in Tulsa at St. Francis. Grew up on a small ranch in Leach, Oklahoma, which is so small that you don't even have a P.O. box or anything. So all we had was a grade school. I went there till 8th grade. Then I had to transfer to Locust Grove. But grew up on a small 40-acre ranch there. We had a rodeo company growing up, and it's just always been a Western lifestyle and a way of living for me, and wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, so clearly it's just a part of life for you. It's not like this is something out of the norm. Like, this is sort of what you were born into, and it's no surprise looking at where you are now, looking back, to be like, oh, I'm in the PBR, I'm a professional bull rider, or I have a ranch, or, just in that Western way of life. Yeah,
it's just another generation. I mean, it's something that my family and my grandparents did. Just wanted to continue the tradition. It's it's what I love to do. And now to be a professional bull rider at the top level, to go from sitting in the stands here to getting to be some kid's role model now is just a around the world experience of just a circle of life, and it's a true blessing.
Dude, it's awesome. So clearly family is very involved. What's kind of like your earliest memory then of Two, your earliest memory of being kind of in and around the farm and ranching, and then your earliest memory of like bull riding and thinking, wow, I want to do that.
Earliest memory around the farm and ranching is just going with my dad as I was a 2-year-old to rodeos across the world. He was team roping professionally, so we did a lot of dummy roping competitions and stuff, and I started riding sheep when I was 2, and then I always had a rope in my hands or trying to rope someone, pestering someone, and just that life was attractive to me.
Yeah.
And then I started riding bulls when I was like 13 years old, and then turned professional at 18, and went to my first pro event a week after I turned 18 at Mercedes, Texas, and I won $43,000 still in high school.
Oh my gosh.
So definitely, if I was questioning whether this was what I wanted to do when I turned 18, a week later I definitely knew this is what I was wanting to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wow. $43,000, and you're 18 years old, right? Like
it's still my biggest win to this day, and it happened at the very first event in my career. So
yeah, amazing. Let's go straight there. Take me to that moment. What was it like? What are you feeling? Like, totally green is your first professional event. I'm 18 years old. I just won $43,000.
So it was actually a weird year in 2014. I lost my dad in May of that year. So then October 11th when I turned 18. So I finished out my junior year and then was at the start of my senior year of high school, and just going through life without the person that supported me the most in my rodeo career went with me. And my mom, she stepped up big and like kind of fulfilled that role. I got the call at high school like beginning of October and saying I got invited to this event, and it had 70,000 added, the biggest thing I'd ever went to, and I'd never been on an airplane, so like I was more scared of getting on the airplane and going than I was riding bulls at the professional level against all my role models and everyone I'd looked up to. Flew down there. I'm pretty sure we spent every dime we had. I went 3 for 3. I only got to ride all 3 of my bulls. Was 92 points in the championship round to win it. Signed autographs. It's the longest I've ever had to stay after an event and sign autographs. That I signed for 2 hours. Aaron Watson, he was playing music that night. I went longer in his concert. And after the event, my mom said, "What do you want to eat?" I said, "I want to go to the room." I said, "Will you go get me 2 McChickens from McDonald's and bring them back to me?" So it's just kind of funny. I mean, I say I won all that money, and then I still ate McDonald's that night. It's just, I don't know, just comfort food, and just another way of life. Like, I didn't change who I was and what I wanted to be and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's like a life-changing event, right? It kind of stars align, everything comes together. And sorry to hear about your dad passing. I can't imagine being 18 years old, going through, losing your role model, right? And kind of someone you've looked up to, and someone who has been so important to you in the sport as well. And like that's something that clearly you carry with you every day, and it's a reminder when you're out there, like you're doing this for a bigger purpose than yourself now, right?
Yeah, it definitely was a life-changing experience, and I mean, everyone's faced with adversity in life, and sometimes you just have that decision, like you can either lay down or you can stand up and be a role model, and how to handle that adversity in a good way and positive way, because the world faces or sometimes focuses on the negatives too much, and that wasn't me. I mean, I went to bull riding and rodeo. They're a family to me, and that was kind of my support system. So getting to go out there and still be around family and them having my back and supporting my dreams, like I know that my dad wanted me to, and stuff like that. So it's still a big deal to my heart too.
Yeah, no doubt. So back to those earliest memories then, what is that first time of coming into and seeing PBR and being like, look, I'm riding sheep, like it's kind of written in the stars, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I mean, so even like when you're in Head Start, all the kids, they's writing on what they wanted to be when they grow up. Mine was a championship mutton buster. At that time, like I didn't even fathom that I could be a professional bull rider and that could be my dream. But I knew that I didn't want to do any other job. And so I just wanted to continue to make my family proud and continue the Rogers name, and hopefully have kids of my own in the future. If they choose the rodeo, they choose the rodeo. If they choose to play sports or whatever they want to do, like I'm fully behind them, and it's their choice. Like that was where I was fortunate. My parents let me live out my dream and follow my own choices. They didn't force anything on me.
Yeah. So you said 13 years old, you rode your first bull?
Yeah, somewhere right around 13. Okay. I believe I was in Wagner, Oklahoma when I got on my first one. It was a surreal feeling. I'd been on some big steers and stuff, but it's nothing like whenever you are actually getting on a bull. I was probably a little young, but I was a tall, lanky kid. And my dad wanted me to be a steer wrestler and team roper, I think, truly. So he kind of wanted to put me to the test and see if I actually wanted to do this. And I rode my first bull, and then from then on, it was history.
Yeah. So you're 6'1". Are you kind of on the taller side for bull riding?
I'm definitely height and weight wise. I'm on the bigger side of bull riders. Their average bull rider is about 5'6" to 5'8", about 135 to 150 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm 6'1" and anywhere from 185 to 190, depending on how I ate that week.
Depending on how many McChicken sandwiches you've had.
Yeah, I had to cut back on them.
Yeah.
Eventually, all that caught up with me a little bit more than what I wanted.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of the McChicken sandwich. I do think it's the best thing on the menu at McDonald's to this day. So that happens. You're 13 years old. You go through that fear of getting on the bull. You do it, and clearly something in you ticks to think, oh, I feel natural here. Like I'm not, because it's probably like a defining moment, right? Like your dad's put you on the bull to think this is a test.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it goes the other way, so he becomes a team roper. But this side, you're like, no, this is it.
In his own words, he was trying to drill my head in the dirt, so I would maybe think a little straighter in his mind.
Yeah.
And no, it's just something. I hit the dirt, and it's just something. I got up immediately, and I was like, something clicked. I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I still don't to this day. Like there's bad days and good days, but I wouldn't trade my worst bad day for a 9-to-5 job somewhere else.
Yeah, no doubt, right? You get to travel the country, sometimes travel the world, and you have your passion as a profession, which it's very fortunate to do that. Not a lot of people can say they can do that.
Yes, sir. No, definitely fortunate on that side of things.
Yeah. So that moment, you're still in you're in high school. You're going through. Are you doing other sports at the time? Are you kind of playing football, baseball?
So I was actually a starter on my high school basketball team at that point in time, and then I started missing so much on Friday and Saturday. So missing Friday games, coach kind of knocked me down to the JV level, and I came off the bench, which is just part of my world. I mean, basketball wasn't what I was going to make a living at, and I was getting a jump start and opportunities that I never would have dreamed of at 18, so I had to take advantage of them.
Yeah, and so you're traveling around then, going to small rodeos around Oklahoma at that age as well?
Yeah, I was going to the Oklahoma high school rodeos and trying to make the high school national finals and everything at the same time, getting recruited for college because they have college rodeo and Division II schools mainly. Some Division I's, like OSU, has a club. They have to call it clubs because we still make money and we pay our own way.
Okay.
The school doesn't pay our way once we get to that college level.
Yeah.
And so just continuing to go wherever I wanted and as many places as I could at that age.
Yeah. And just like you think, this is living the dream, right? It's just for anybody else who's in high school that's playing club football or baseball or basketball, or girls playing volleyball, like you're doing effectively club rodeo and traveling around the country, right? This is awesome.
And then my friends at high school, I mean, they thought it was the coolest thing ever that I was getting to go and do things and go across the world. I mean, going to Cheyenne, Wyoming as an 18-year-old and getting to ride there, and then that's one of the coolest arenas I've ever been to, and like to feel the history of everything that's happened there, from Lane Frost to riding Mr. T, like just, I mean, the history and the world champions that's been there on that ground, you can feel it when you walk on it, and it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
Yeah, you're like, it's that for me. I'm a golfer, right? That's Augusta for me in the Masters, right? Well, Cheyenne, Wyoming is your kind of Augusta, right?
Yeah, no, and
awesome.
I mean, speaking of that, I love golfing, so getting to travel the world and go to golf places. I mean, last April I got to go golf Chambers Bay up there in Tacoma, so to get the golf course that they played the U.S. Open on is just unreal, and it's something I never thought I'd get to do.
You got your clubs in the trailer then when you travel?
If I'm driving, I pretty much have them with me at all times. We go to Big Sky, Montana in the summer, and on that trip, that's some of the funnest golfing and sights that you can see in the world.
Yeah, wow. I haven't been to Montana yet, but now after you saying that, I got to go, right, and check out that views and play golf somewhere. There's beautiful golf courses all over the world, and that's one of the great sports that, it's a sport that we can play till we're no longer here, right? Sadly, bull riding you can't, and I don't know if there's anyone who wants to get on a bull at 60 years old, but we can hit a golf ball when we're 60.
Yeah, you can hit a golf ball. I don't know if I can. By the time I get 60, my body might be too broken. It's rough to get out of bed some mornings now.
Yeah. So clearly, this is kind of that you get to that age, you're in high school. This is starting to the ball's rolling. You're as a profession, and how do you think of you mentioned college. Like, are you actively seeking universities at that point to further your education, or when you win and you're 18 years old, does that be like, oh, actually, I can do this for a living, I don't need to go to school? Like, what was that kind of phase in your life like?
There was mixed emotions about all of that, because that was something that my dad pushed hard, because he worked 2 jobs growing up. He drove a school bus during the day, and then he worked at Gates Rubber Company from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. and then went, so he hardly got much sleep, to working all the jobs to support me. And my mom worked, she was a school teacher growing up, and then turned into working for the Cherokee Nation. So they both were doing everything they could to support me. And my mom, she went to college and got an associate's degree. And my dad, he never did. So that was something big. He wanted me to have opportunities after my rodeo career to be able to support my family. And so when I lost him, I didn't really want to go to college. I mean, what kid wants to?
Right.
You get done at high school, you're like, man, I don't have to go to class on Monday morning. Like, this feels good. My mom, she kind of pushed for me not to go to college too. She wanted me to chase my dream, but I ended up choosing to go to Southeastern Oklahoma State. Planned on, I didn't know how the experience was going to go. I went 1 year, or made it 1 year, ended up 4th in the nation as a freshman, won the Athlete of the Year at my college.
Yeah.
And I was this close to being first in the nation that it drove me to come back a second year. And so then once I finished 2 years, I'm like, well, I'm halfway done with my bachelor's. I might as well just keep going.
Right.
And then I was at that point, I'm like, well, they're offering me to pay for my master's degree now. I mean, how many bull riders can say they have a master's degree? So
that was going to be my next question. There can't be many, right? That even, I mean, I know that I've had a couple on the podcast in the past, and they have gone to school and done the same thing, but you know, like a master's too, right? To do all that. Like,
I definitely think I'm the only one that has a master's degree on tour. I could be wrong, but I don't know any other ones that had the dedication enough to go to class and stuff. And
what's your degree in master's in?
Sports administration.
Okay, yeah. Is that something that's super passionate, that maybe after this, that's what you want to go into?
So I want to be a college rodeo coach and help the next generation coming from high school to transferring to that professional level, give them a stepping stone and good direction on how to compete and achieve their goals and support themselves.
Yeah. Well, you said your mom's a teacher, right? So you have that education side of you, and
yes, sir,
and the coaching side from watching, you know, your dad and other figures around you help you do what you do, because you can't get to where you're at without great coaching.
No, you definitely have to have the support system around you, whether it's emotionally, physically, whatever it is. You got to have people that motivate you and push you and they tell you the hard truth that sometimes you don't want to hear, but you need to hear.
Yeah, no doubt. And we need that, right? Like you said, it's not fun to hear that, you know, you're sucking in this area, right? Or you need to tighten this up, or you need to do this, or, you know, you need to be checked. Like, no one likes to be criticized, but I think the best people out there, they're good at taking criticism because they know it comes from a good place.
Yeah, the best people out there, they want to know their weaknesses, so they're not their weaknesses no more. They want to make them their strengths.
Yeah. So you're at Southeastern, you're doing your degree, you're a professional bull rider at this point, so you're doing school and traveling around the country at the same time.
Oh yeah, trying to balance it all, going to rodeos during the week, going to college rodeos on the weekend. I took in-class classes my freshman year, and then after that I kind of transferred into more of the online role, which was hard for me because going to school and learning, I'm an in-person learning. I like seeing it in front of my eyes, and sometimes I like to procrastinate, so online you can push things till the very last minute, and it's all on you. So it made me become very responsible, and I had some great friends that helped me, and so I couldn't do that without them.
Yeah. Was there anyone on your team that was professional as well, that was traveling?
There was a lot of us. On the bull riding side of things, I was the only one at my college, but there was some other guys in the region, like Josh Frost. He went to school in Panhandle, so me and him entered a lot together at that time. Mickey Andrews, he was in college my freshman year. He went to Weatherford, Oklahoma. So there's a lot of us on the professional bull riding circuit at that time that we would enter and we'd go to the college rodeos on a Friday night, fly somewhere on Saturday, and then come back for the short rounds on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's definitely some traveling, but having great roommates, teammates that would I was competing in calf rope and steer wrestling, team roping at college rodeos as well. Okay. So I had to draw up right anyways at the rodeo to be able to do all my events and still make another event on the weekend.
Yeah. And this is just like during this time you're still like, this is what I'm here to do, right? This is what I'm born to do. I want to do this the rest of my life. And this is, you know.
I mean, the rodeo is a short career. I mean, I know that my bull riding career only got maybe 7 years left-ish. I'm 28, so your average bull rider is somewhere between 30 to 35 is when they retire. So, I mean, it's time to... And I like that I have a plan after my bull riding career. There's some guys that don't know what they are going to do after this life, but it's not going to support you forever.
Yeah.
But hopefully that's where my degrees come in, and rodeo is something I can be around and that can support myself and keep living this lifestyle.
Yeah. So you travel around, you're on the road a lot. Do you have a favorite truck stop that you like to stop at? And then if you do, what's your favorite snacks when you're on the road?
When I was with my girlfriend, she liked going to the Love's truck stops. I don't know. She was just like them the best. I kind of like a Pilot. The Pilot's where I like to stop. They got some good greasy pizza and stuff. Like to bolt or eat bad every now and then. But it's tough traveling and eating good. Like that's probably the toughest thing is having snacks, because I'm a snacky person. I like having my Starburst or my gummy worms and stuff like that, especially when it's late at night and you got to have something to keep you awake.
Yeah. What was it like, kind of that first full season then, when you're out of school and you're on the road and traveling around? Like what was that? There is no school, right? After you get your master's degree, what's it like when you're kind of full time in the profession without no school?
So my first in 2021 was kind of where I really wanted to take the PBR serious, and that was when I first had came back from my master's degree, and it was right after COVID. So the season for the college rodeos, it got shrunk. Normally it's spread out between the fall and the spring. Well, they canceled all the fall rodeos because it was still in 2020, and they moved them to the 2021. So from February to end of April, we had a college rodeo 9 weekends in a row. And but from January, or from like about December to January, I went to hard PBRs and I got high in the world standings, and then trying to balance that between the college rodeos, it was tough. And then somewhere in April, I got to go to a college rodeo at Guyman, Oklahoma. So I went there and did all my events on Thursday, drove to PBR in Wichita on Friday, rode my bull at Wichita, won second in the round, had them. The PBR fortunately worked with me. They moved my bull on Saturday night to the end, and we had our short round at the college rodeo at 2 p.m. in Guyman. And so I remember my mom, I couldn't have done it without her. I got on my bull at the college rodeo, and I was in my vest, helmet, and everything. Had my bag in the car waiting. I got off my bull, ran up the hill, jumped in the van, and then my mom hauled butt to the event. And so I got there 3 bulls before I was supposed to go at Wichita, and ended up placing third at that event there that night. And it propelled me high enough in the world standings that I got to start on the UTV tour, and got to go to my first event in Billings, Montana, in early May. And then I'd won the region in the bull riding, so I'd made it to the college finals that year. And then at Billings, I didn't do no good. Got the call the next weekend to go to Jacksonville's UTV, and that's when I broke my leg in 4 places. So I'd went through that whole year of college rodeoing and stuff just to break my leg 3 weeks before the college finals. Oh. And I just got on tour, so that was it was rough on me.
Yeah.
That's probably the second lowest point I'd ever been in my life. It's like, why did you do this to me, God? It made me question everything, and I really had to dig deep and search into my soul and search into the Lord, and he just provided me the way. And he reminded me that it's on his timing, it's not ours. We can want anything to go our way, but at the end of the day, it's all on him, and you got to trust his process, and that it's a learning thing in every moment in life.
Yeah, you're at the height of your career at that point, right? Like you said, you're not just mentally, physically high from life. You're like, this is your anticipation of this is my time, right? I got my college finals coming up. Once that's done, I'm going on tour. I must have been so excited from that, and to have that kind of just ripped from you. I
mean, it definitely just felt ripped away all of a sudden, and that's kind of how I viewed it. And then it was going into the summer, so on a rodeo lifestyle, you're normally gone from June to September, and you don't even see home. So then all my friends are out traveling the world at that summer, and I'm sitting at home with a broken leg and a cast. I actually golfed more that summer than I've ever golfed in my life. I was supposed to have been non-weight bearing, and you'd see me crutching up to the tee box and laying down my crutches and barely putting weight on my right leg and then hitting a golf ball. I had to find something to occupy my time and find happiness in other than myself. I had to feel an activity and some type of purpose. Right. But then kind of the same thing happened. I got healthy. November rolled around. That started the next season for the 2023 or 2022 season. Went to 3 events. I won 4th at the first one. Then I went to Reno, Nevada, won a velocity event. Went to Denver, Colorado, which is a big velocity event, 80,000 added. Won 3rd there. Rocketed to 14th in the world. But unfortunately, in the second round at Denver, I landed wrong and tore the PCL in my knee. And that was the first year that the PBR had went to a shortened individual season. So normally the finals was in October, and I would have time to heal from it and come back. But this year, the finals would have been in May. And so I was out from January to April again for my knee, and it cost me making my first PBR World Finals in 22. Yeah. And so it just it was another shot in the dark. And then when I was hurt that time, I put on some weight that I didn't need to put, and kind of was like, is this what I'm supposed to do again? Like, maybe if I keep getting hurt, once I get to the top of the level, like maybe God has other plans in store for me. But I just don't think that was it. And I'm hard-headed and don't give up. And I think he put it on my heart to be that way. And so I worked hard that summer to get back to riding good, because when I first came back, I just didn't ride good. I was overweight, didn't focus right, was mentally in a bad place. And I had to reach and dig deep. And I went to what we call the Challenger events that summer, and we call it the long way to get on the UTV tour. The top 5 guys over the lower level events, they got an invite for the 2023 season. They got 4 events to showcase that they were good enough and stay on tour. And then I think in the 2023 season, I was on tour for every event but one, where I hurt my knee and I had just set out for a weekend. But so it's been a long road, but yeah, I got to make my first World Finals in 2023. Got to be a part of the Kansas City Outlaws coming into that next team season. They've been a blessing to me. They pushed me. I mean, I grew up playing basketball and stuff, so having coaches and stuff isn't anything new, but in the bull riding world, it was new. And to have the team camaraderie between the Americans and the Brazilians, and us going to training camps and pretty much doing everything, eating, going bowling, going to play paintball, carrying logs through a pond, like you name it, we did it as a team. We'd be getting on bulls at 9 a.m., working out at 1, watching film at 5 p.m., and then eating dinner and going to bed and doing the same thing over every day during team season. So it was definitely a growing experience, and I couldn't thank them enough. They pushed me. They showed me how to, like, my true work ethic, and it kind of felt like I had a father figure back in my life, like pushing me, and like I wasn't necessarily just slacking on my own. I had someone else that expected things of me.
Yeah, it came at a great time, right?
Yeah, definitely a blessing. And like I say, I can't go back to God works in his own ways and provides opportunities when they're supposed to be provided.
Yeah. Just dive into that a little bit, because I think there's a lot of people listening that'll get a lot of value out of, there's been multiple times in your life where you've kind of gone through adversity, right? Whether it's family or it's physical, all these things that happen. And like you said, you have been in those dark places. How, faith is obviously a huge part of your life. With, your faith and then also your determination, practically, like how do you get yourself out of those dark spots? Because a lot of us listening have, maybe not gone through the adversity that you have, but they're going through their own adversity, right?
Sometimes being in this lifestyle, it's hard. You're on the road on Sundays, so it's hard to go to church. So I reached deep into devotionals and found different deals that I like reading each day, and reaching out to preachers and stuff that I trust and have grew up with and know the lifestyle of rodeo. My home church in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, I've been to plenty of churches, but like that one's home. The preacher, he was a professional calf roper. Like, he just knows the lifestyle, and he's intense about it, and he's going to say it how it is, and he ain't going to sugarcoat it when I ask him stuff. And to have someone in your corner like that can guide you and kind of direct you even when you're getting a little bit off the path or not understanding why life's throwing these curveballs at you, it's just nice to have a support system and a rock behind you.
having that rock, right, and having that person that you trust, and obviously Tahlequah is beautiful as well, right? Like, it's a beautiful part of the state, and there's some, you know, famous musicians from out there, and bull riders too, right? You guys, you know, it's not just music. Like, there's a bull riding culture in Tahlequah too.
Yeah, definitely a bull riding culture. I mean, you had Ryan Dirt Eater. He's made the PBR World Finals, I don't know, 13 or 14 times. Whenever we went to PBR teams, he was part of the first championship team. He came out of retirement just for it. And it's kind of the same lifestyle. I mean, he had 3 career-ending injuries. He snapped his same femur twice, and you're not even supposed to be able to do that. And to come back from it and just be devoted to this lifestyle and what it can provide you is great to be able to talk to him for advice and on how to handle stuff.
Yeah. All right, 2 questions. What is your process like before you jump on the bull? Do you do anything every single time? Do you have, like in golf, we have a pre-shot routine, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a special pre-shot routine for your bull riding?
So I like to show up to the event about 2.5 hours early. I get here, I go find my bull, look at him. Most of the time I know him ahead of time, but it's nice to just get eyes on him. It's just that process of being like, all right, that's who my competitor is tonight. I gotta do what I can to make the 8 seconds on him. And then go into it, go to sports med. Normally they'll work on whatever sore on you at that time. Then I don't like to start getting ready until within an hour of the show. So if it starts at 8 p.m. tonight, I won't start changing till 7. I just like, because some people, they'll change at 6 o'clock and then they'll have that dead time. Well, once I start changing, like, that means it's go time. I want to do it continuously. But I'm no different. I mean, superstitious. Put my right boot on first, put my left boot on first or second, tie them the same order, do a basketball, football warm-up routine. I kind of get made fun of for that, doing slides and high knees, butt kicks, whatever to get loose. But I'm getting at the age where I got to warm up my muscles a little more than I did at 18. I definitely feel it a lot more nowadays. And then once you throw your leg over to climb over the bull on the back of the chutes, after that it's just complete. You're not thinking about anything. It's just complete routine and what you're meant to do and what you've trained your whole life to do, and you got to trust your process that you took to get there.
Yeah, that's does it when you're on, added in question here, when you're on the bull and you're in that moment, it's, you know, you're out of the chute, does it slow down for you?
I mean, if you've ever been in a car crash, I mean, in my experience with the car crash, everything slowed down and it seemed like it took forever to happen.
Okay.
And bull riding's kind of the same way. Like, if you're able to slow it down, it becomes easier. Sometimes it's not easy. Each bull's different, and if you're in timing with them, it feels like a great slow dance. But if not, it feels like a swing dance, and you're just getting flung around. It's different each time, but I do like it's controlled chaos, and my favorite comparison is to ballroom dancing. The bull's the lead, and I just got to follow him.
Okay. Last question. My day job's real estate. I'm in the real estate world, so love to ask this last question of, if you were to build your dream home, what would your dream home be like? Where would it be? And what are the things you'd have in your dream home?
Probably a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story country house on about 100 acres of land with probably 200 cattle running across there, and ideally have 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, have dogs, horses, everything like that. I don't know, just a small country lifestyle is what I want, nothing too fancy. It's the ultimate dream. Hopefully I have that one day.
Awesome. Well, mate, wish you all the best of luck this weekend. Home rodeo, got a lot of family and friends in town. It's going to be a great experience here at the BOK. And for people listening, what's your Instagram? Where can they follow you along and cheer you on?
Wyatt Rogers on Facebook. I have a professional bull riding page there you can follow too. And then Wyatt _ bull rider on Instagram, or you can look up Wyatt Rogers. I'm probably the only one with the bull riding picture on my profile. And bull rider _ Wyatt on, I think, TikTok and X,
Twitter, yeah, one of those.
One of them.
Awesome. Well, mate, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Excited to watch you tonight at the BOK Center. And for people listening, hit the link to Wyatt's social media in the description. Follow him along, and wish Oklahoma's PBR rider best of luck. And we'll catch you next episode. Cheers.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my 2 pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my 2 golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car, Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.